Imagine this scene playing out in your mind as clearly as possible. You wake up tomorrow morning. The sun is coming through your window. You reach over and pick up your phone, the same phone you have used for the past 2 or 3 years. You check your messages. You scroll through your notifications. You take a photo of your breakfast. Everything works exactly as it always has. Your phone still calls. It still texts. It still takes perfectly good photos. It runs every single app you need, from social media to banking to maps to games. Nothing changed overnight. Nothing broke. Nothing stopped working. But suddenly, for some reason, it feels old. It feels behind. It feels like maybe it's time for something new. Why? What changed? Because somewhere in the world, in a city far away, a company just held an event. They unveiled a new version of your phone. Slightly thinner. Slightly faster. Slightly better camera. And in that exact moment, your perfectly good device didn't break. Your perception of it broke. Your satisfaction with it disappeared. Your feeling about it changed. Today we are going to expose one of the most powerful psychological tricks of the modern world. A system that has been engineered over decades, refined by experts, tested in focus groups, and optimized for one simple purpose. A system designed to make you feel behind even when you are not. A system that turns satisfaction into dissatisfaction automatically. A system that convinces you to spend thousands of dollars over your lifetime solving problems you never actually had. This is the story of the upgrade illusion. Part 1. The line outside the store. Picture someone standing in line outside a store on launch day. Maybe it's a phone. Maybe it's a new gadget. Maybe it's the latest version of something they already own. The line is long. The energy is high. People are excited. This person has watched every single review video online. They know every feature by heart. They have compared specs and benchmarks and camera samples. They know exactly what they're getting. They feel excitement building in their chest. They feel anticipation. They feel pride that they are among the first to get it. But here is the strange part that nobody talks about. The phone already in their pocket, the one they are about to replace, still works perfectly. It takes great photos. It runs every app. It connects to the internet. It does everything a phone is supposed to do. This purchase is not about need. It is not about solving a problem. There is no problem to solve. The old device works fine. This purchase is about emotion. It is about the feeling of falling behind. It is about the fear of missing out on something new and exciting. It is about the rush of novelty, the dopamine hit of unboxing something fresh, the social validation of owning the latest thing. The purchase is not solving a practical problem. The purchase is solving a feeling. And that feeling was manufactured specifically to make you spend money. Part 2. How satisfaction turns into dissatisfaction. Let's use a simple metaphor that makes this dynamic impossible to ignore. Imagine you own a toy robot. You love this robot. You have had it for a while. You play with it every single day. It does cool things. It lights up. It moves around. It makes you happy. You are completely satisfied with your robot. Then one day, your friend shows up with a newer robot. This robot has one extra button. A slightly brighter light. Maybe it moves a tiny bit faster. That's it. One extra feature that barely changes anything. Suddenly, your robot feels boring. Suddenly, you don't want to play with yours anymore. Suddenly, you feel like you need the new one. But think about this carefully. Nothing changed about your robot. It still does everything it always did. It still lights up and moves and makes you happy. The only thing that changed was comparison. The only thing that changed was seeing something newer. This is the psychological engine behind upgrades. This is how the system works. The tech industry does not need your device to fail. It does not need it to break. It does not need it to stop working. It only needs your satisfaction to disappear. It only needs you to feel like what you have is no longer enough. And the way they make your satisfaction disappear is by constantly showing you something newer, something shinier, something with one more feature you didn't know you wanted until they told you about it. Part 3. The business model you never see. Most people think tech companies make money by selling great products. And that is partly true. They do sell products. Good products. Products that people want. But the real engine behind the entire industry is repeat sales. It is not selling you a phone once. It is selling you the same phone again and again with tiny, incremental improvements that feel big in the moment but change almost nothing about your daily life. Think about how this works. Every single year, new phones come out. They have slightly better cameras. They have slightly faster processors. They have slightly brighter screens. They have slightly longer battery life. These changes are real. They are measurable. You can see them in benchmarks and spec sheets. The camera really does take slightly better photos in low light. The processor really does load apps slightly faster. But for most people, for the vast majority of users, these changes do not change daily life. The photos you took with last year's phone were already great. The apps you used last year already loaded fast enough. The screen you looked at last year was already bright and clear. The revolution is mostly emotional, not practical. The feeling of new matters more than the new itself. And that feeling is manufactured on purpose, every single year, like clockwork. Part 4. The math that changes everything. Now let's do some simple math. The kind of math that makes the upgrade illusion look completely different. The kind of math that reveals the true cost of always having the latest thing. Imagine you upgrade your phone every 3 years. Let's say each phone costs around $900. That is a typical flagship price these days. Over 40 years of adult life, from your 20s to your 60s, that means you will buy about 13 phones. 13 times $900 equals over $11,700. Almost $12,000 just on phones. But phones are not the only thing. Add laptops. Add tablets. Add smart watches. Add wireless earbuds. Add smart home gadgets. Add all the other electronics that get upgraded on a regular cycle. Suddenly, you are spending tens of thousands of dollars on electronics over your lifetime. Tens of thousands of dollars on things that mostly do the same things as the previous versions. But here is the real twist. The part that changes everything. If that money were invested instead of spent, if those thousands of dollars were put into the stock market and left alone to grow, they could turn into hundreds of thousands of dollars by the time you retire. The cost of upgrades is not just what you pay at the store. That is only the beginning. The real cost is what you never build. The wealth you never create. The future you never fund because you spent today on things you didn't really need. Part 5. Planned obsolescence. There are 3 invisible forces working behind the scenes to keep you on the upgrade treadmill. 3 forces that are designed into the system from the beginning. Force number 1 is software pressure. Every year, apps and operating systems get more demanding. They require more processing power. They need more memory. They use more battery. The updates that come to your phone slowly make it feel slower, even though nothing physical changed. The software outgrows the hardware. And eventually, your perfectly good device starts to feel sluggish not because it broke, but because the software was designed to push it to its limits. Force number 2 is repair barriers. Batteries are harder to replace than they used to be. Screens cost almost as much to fix as the phone is worth. Repairs feel expensive and complicated. And when something small goes wrong, the easiest solution feels like buying new instead of fixing old. The economics are tilted on purpose to push you toward replacement. Force number 3 is release rituals. Every year, on a predictable schedule, new products are announced. The same time, the same hype, the same cycle. This creates a psychological clock in your mind. Even if your device is working fine, the calendar tells you it is time to think about upgrading. Your phone ages emotionally before it ever ages physically. Your phone did not fail. The calendar did. The software did. The system did. Part 6. The truth about better. Let's ask a simple question that cuts through all the marketing. What does better actually mean for most people? Think about how you actually use your phone every single day. You send text messages. You scroll through social media. You take photos of your food, your friends, your pets. You watch videos. You use maps to find places. You check email. Now ask yourself honestly, does a phone from 3 years ago do any of these things poorly? Does it fail to send texts? Do the photos look terrible? Do videos not play? Do maps not work? Of course not. A phone from 3 years ago does all of these things perfectly well. The difference between last year's model and this year's model lives in numbers, not in experience. Benchmarks show improvement. Daily life barely notices. You cannot feel 5% faster. You cannot see tiny camera upgrades on a small screen. You cannot tell the difference in processor speed when you are scrolling through Instagram. The improvement exists. It is real. The new phone really is technically better. But it rarely changes your life. It rarely makes you happier. It rarely does anything except make you feel like you have the newest thing for a few weeks until the next thing comes along. Part 7. The refurbished secret. Here is something that marketers and advertisers rarely highlight. Something that could save you thousands of dollars over your lifetime if you understand it. A flagship phone from 2 years ago still performs like a flagship. It was the best when it came out. It still has a great camera. It still has a fast processor. It still has a beautiful screen. It is still an excellent device. But it costs half the price. Sometimes less. That device is not outdated. It is not old and useless. It is simply not the newest. And in the world of upgrades, not newest gets translated into not good enough, even though that translation is completely wrong. The refurbished market exists because people upgrade too fast. They trade in perfectly good devices to get the latest thing. And those devices get cleaned up, tested, and sold again at a fraction of their original price. Someone else's old phone becomes your incredible deal. Someone else's desire for the newest becomes your opportunity to save. Part 8. The environmental story. Upgrades are not just a financial issue. They are an environmental issue. And the scale of this problem is much bigger than most people realize. Every time you buy a new device, materials have to be mined from the earth. Lithium for batteries. Rare earth metals for components. Gold and silver for circuits. Mining these materials damages ecosystems. It consumes water. It creates pollution. Then manufacturing creates massive emissions. Factories run on energy. Devices are assembled and shipped around the world. All of this happens before you ever open the box. Most of a phone's carbon footprint, something like 80%, happens before you even turn it on for the first time. The damage is already done by the time it arrives at your door. And then, when you upgrade, the old device often becomes e-waste. Even if you recycle it, recycling processes are imperfect. Valuable materials are lost. Toxic components end up in landfills. The problem keeps growing. Keeping a device longer is not just smart money. It is Smart Planet. Every year you keep your phone is a year you are not creating demand for new mining, new manufacturing, new shipping, new waste. Part 9. Why the upgrade urge feels so strong. The desire to upgrade is not random. It is not just something that happens naturally. It is engineered, designed, manufactured, delivered to you through multiple channels all working together. Advertising shows you happy people with new devices. Reviews tell you about all the improvements you are missing. Social comparison makes you look at what others have and feel behind. Influencers hype every release like it is the most important thing in the world. Trade-in programs make the new phone feel cheaper than it really is by hiding the true cost in monthly payments. The goal of all this engineering is not just to sell you a product. The goal is to make you feel behind without it. To create a sense of lack that only a new purchase can fill. To make you uncomfortable with what you already have. Recognizing this is powerful. Because once you see the game, once you understand how it works, once you realize that your dissatisfaction was manufactured on purpose, you can choose how to play. You can decide whether to participate or opt out. Part 10. The final message. The real definition of new. New does not always mean better. Sometimes new just means newer. Sometimes new just means different. Sometimes new just means marketed. Your device is not outdated just because something new exists. Your device is outdated when it can no longer serve your needs. When it stops working. When it can't run the apps you need. When the battery dies too fast. When it actually breaks. And that moment usually arrives much later than the marketing suggests. Much later than the upgrade cycle wants you to believe. Much later than the influencers tell you. The most powerful upgrade is not buying something new. The most powerful upgrade is upgrading your awareness. Upgrading your understanding of how the system works. Upgrading your ability to see through the manufactured desire. Closing story. Imagine two people living their lives. The first person chases every release. Every year, they get the newest phone. The newest watch. The newest laptop. They stand in line on launch day. They watch every review. They feel excitement and anticipation. Their drawer fills with old devices they no longer use. The second person keeps what works. They use their phone until it actually stops meeting their needs. They replace batteries instead of whole devices. They buy refurbished instead of new. They save the difference. Years later, the first person has a drawer full of old electronics and memories of unboxing excitement. The second person has investments, savings, less stress, more freedom. Same technology available to both. Different mindset. Completely different outcome. If this video changed how you see your next upgrade, if it made you think differently about that urge to get the newest thing, hit subscribe and join this channel. Because here, we do not just talk about money. We talk about the invisible forces shaping your decisions every single day. The forces you never see but always feel. And once you understand them, once you really see them, you stop chasing upgrades and start upgrading your life. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.